Good morning. I'm higher vibrations, and so are you. Thank you for joining. There's a lot of things that people are having right now, ascension symptom wise. We're having a lot more. I say it every week. It feels like kind of silly to even say it, but it really is. We're having a lot happening. And so it's really a good time to come and have this conversation. And also, I want to apologize. I had told you I'd put a video out today or yesterday. It's going to be out a little bit later. I didn't actually get time to sit down and record it, unfortunately, but I have the list. It's quite extensive. So I will have that out soon. I apologize for that. Jacaranda Marie, welcome. I love you, sister. You do so much for the awakening community. I'll have to catch this replay. The replay. I'm thinking of you and missing you like crazy. Give Guardian and Madeline and Rita a hug. Hey, Stephanie, welcome. Thank you for saying that, Jacaranda Marie. And she also said, ran out of room. Hugs to Donna, Fania, Lynn, and everyone else joining. Love to all, and please hit the like button. Oh, thank you, Jacaranda Marie. Vegan Vixen says, phew, just got back. Glad not to have missed the start. Love you all from Wales, UK. Welcome. Good to see you again. I always wonder if I say this name right. Roania Blue. And she was just saying hello to everybody. Hello, Pamela. Hello, all. Thank you. And she was also had commented specifically for those who had joined. And Stephanie Allen. Okay, so Trey B. Hello, Pamela and Star Family. And Miss Wants You One. Hi. And Vanya. Hello. Welcome. Oh, good. I said it right. I'm really happy to hear that. So, welcome everyone. If you have any questions or anything that you'd like to, just barely late. Don't worry about it. 8, number 1. We're just barely getting started. Patriot Hero says, hi, is anyone else struggling with emotions right now? Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest ones. It's like a pendulum of emotion that's happening. So, like, bursts of like frustration, irritability, and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, just weeping with joy, and the world is so beautiful. And just all of this. That's my experience. I've heard a lot of people talking about this, though, this pendulum, almost like a bipolar. If it were more, stretched out over a series of days, because this is like you'll wake up in the morning feeling one way, frustration. Yeah. And can't seem to do anything, the motivation thing for sure. We'll wake up in the morning and feel like one way, like happy or joyful, and then we'll just fall into some kind of pit of despair for a very brief time. Like my pit of despair is that I'll become easily frustrated, like 8 number 1 said. And like just like irritability coming up. And a lot of times those around me don't see, because it's not my natural disposition to be unhappy. That's just how it works. It was earlier in my life. I've become a whole different person over the course of this awakening experience. And so when I feel these unpleasant, these like anger or frustration or irritability or whatever for very long, I have a hard time. That's where I need to work more on self-love during those times, and not feeling guilty or feeling bad about having had an emotion. Like, we're having part of this human experience. That's what we're doing here, right? So um that self-love and that stuff having to do with allowing yourself to take care of yourself is something that a lot of us find is a hurdle that we find ways to move through eventually. It's okay to take naps. As my example, I really struggled with that for a long time, guilty about it and stuff. And dude, we're just taking care of yourself. And while we take care of ourselves, we also take care of everyone else. It just works that way. It's really cool. Like, when we are taking care of ourselves, then we raise our vibration. And when we raise our vibration, we change the molecular structure of the very air. And that connects and connects and connects and connects. Only happens in rapid succession. It's like, it just goes. So, knowing that, it's easier to take care of oneself, I would say, knowing that a selfish act is actually service to others. So Patriot Hero says, I'm a guy. We aren't supposed to have feelings. I know, right? There's so much of that paradigm being broken down. I'm so happy that you have a sense of humor about that. And just allowing yourself to release that. I mean, that is a brave thing to do, as the conditioning and things that we have been given as a species. For the most part, I think it crosses many cultural lines of that masculine and being unemotional and detached and unempathetic and all of those things, when men are naturally those things. It's simply a conditioning starting at a very young age. So I'm happy to see that go, honestly. Um, thank you for honoring us with experiencing your emotions. Um, so Vegan Vixen says to Patriot Hero, I'd prefer a man who does have feelings. Honestly, it's the ones who don't have feelings that end up being a brief experience in my life. Um, it's really cool to see that coming on. Molly says, it's so great to connect with you all today. Sending love and light. I feel like something is about to shift significantly. 888. Yes, completely. We are it's kind of fun, actually. We're having our next Friday group Zoom meeting is on the portal. It's on May 5th. So that's kind of fun. That portal has a lot going on. There's the lunar eclipse. There's a rare meteor shower. There's a lot of other things that are happening that are little in their own right, though in culmination as a collection of all these astrological events. And I mean, think about it. Isn't it funny how many times we've had once in a lifetime astrological events happen the past 4 or 5 years? I mean, like once in a lifetime. It's kind of almost becoming a joke. Um, so yeah, a lot of stuff moving into that portal energy, though. I have also June's portal, because this year, is it June? No, it's July. I was July's the 7th month, and it's the 7th year. If you look at the year and a numerology, adding the 2 and the 3 and the other 2, and anyway, so that particular portal, I think we're all feeling it as well right now already. Honestly, like it's amazing. I don't know. We're also getting a lot more solar flares and earthquakes and Schumann resonance spikes and offline. And speaking of, hello, Stephanie. She's my other Schumann resonance person I check in with. She's awesome. Stephanie actually going to join me on the 19th for a live conversation. So that's going to be really fun. Um, Patriot Hero says, I'm feeling like anxiety in tummy and chest. I normally don't feel that way. Okay, let's talk about this. This is what everyone's feeling right now. So we have the lower 3, not to be lower or like, there's no hierarchy in your chakras, though we tend to not address the root or the sacral or the solar plexus chakras as much. That just, we start to do our awakening thing and we're like, open my third eye, I command you, and just working on your third eye and your crown and all this stuff. And we're already open there. That's our gift that we came here with. Our struggle or our need to focus on our lower chakras has always been a thing. And now we are all in unison having discomfort there. It's very interesting because a lot of it is like pregnancy and birth. So a lot of people are having birth like symptoms. And so like it's just this stuck energy, this need to focus in on that orange chakra specifically. We have manifestation that's come online so much stronger lately. And that is that chakra region, the solar plexus, and also the sacral chakra. I feel like they go together. They're both part of that creation of things, but I know that there's different schools of thought on that. So this area, we're feeling a lot of nausea, severe pain. Some people have come to me that have been just and really, really intense discomfort there, feeling like there's a blockage or something like that, and going through a variety of medical, you know, procedures to see if there's a blockage, and there's not. And then going into meditation, finding that particular specifically the orange chakra, so the sacral chakra, tends to feel neglected, unseen. And so just allowing ourselves to focus in the light from God. So we visualize that white light from God coming down through, usually through our crown chakra, but you can do whatever chakra you want. And then moving that light directly to that solar plexus area. that beautiful sunset orange color. Um, and that really starts to bring in some of the emotions, bring up some of the things that is kind of stored in that place. Most people, I'm finding out as we're doing all these one-on-one sessions, is that the vast majority of people store their inner child there in their sacral chakra or somewhere right near to it. And so this shadow work, this inner child work that a lot of people are talking about right now has a lot to do with hearing the voice of that chakra. So just allowing yourself to guide that light there and have a conversation. Seriously, it sounds really silly. The other thing that you could do is to start to do the color therapy thing. And what I mean by that is eating foods that are the color. So right now we're talking about the sacral chakra. So we would be eating, actually I have some sitting around just for the color, orange, eating oranges or orange juice, or just having something orange on your body, like a shirt or a bracelet or something like that. That really does help. So those are my tips. And you can consider whatever color chakra that's being affected, amplify that color in your life, and that will help. So thank you. Um, okay, Stephanie says, I get little brief crunchies, emos, but then back to calm and content. Awesome. I like that, crunchies. Yeah, me too. My difficulty is not going to the guilt, not going to the feeling bad, and um I am an energy that even if you can't see, if I look like I'm calm, which I guess my face, I'm not, I've never been able to lie because you can tell. My face tells you what I'm thinking. Um, I'm one of those people. Hey, it's 12:12. Um, though I know I can feel it and I can see it. People can feel my energy, and so I feel guilty. I feel bad. I made people feel uncomfortable, and so I'm very lucky in that I am surrounded by very understanding and beautiful people at the same time. So that's something that's really a good idea for all of us to work on. I think we've been brought up in no matter what culturally speaking, all of us in one way or another, kind of for the most part, been brought up to not take believe that taking care of yourself is a valued thing. And so, I mean, it's surprising if you think about it. I mean, we're children of God, right? So God doesn't want you to hurt his baby, So, okay, yes, says Sylvia, not feeling bad about having an emotion. Exactly. We can be spiritual and have emotions. Aho. Lots of loneliness feelings. Yeah. So this need to connect. There was a severing feeling. Okay, it's not really didn't happen. It felt like it. What it was, and I saw it happening, and I didn't understand why they were trying to tell me this. My guides and had come through, and they're showing me like riding a bike, like the kids learning to ride a bike, and perhaps the first time without training wheels, and holding the back of the seat to guide the child to ride the bike, and then letting go. And that moment when that child realizes that there's nobody holding on is where we're at right now. They're still there. They're running behind us, cheering. Yeah, you're doing it. It's just that we are learning to understand and connect to see that in that way. So, um, and also I think that the other part of it is that we're being called to each other. Like if you didn't feel that, you wouldn't be called to one another, to other starseeds, to other empaths, people on this awakening journey, And so I think that's part of it too. It's like a call to each other. I'm sorry that you're feeling that. It's not a very fun experience. Vegan Vixen says to Patriot Hero, yes, the anxiety is a problem for me too. It's horrible. That anxiety when it's fluttering in, I'll get the flushes of anxiety as well. I didn't. It's usually very very brief, like incredibly brief. And the reason for that, I think, is that I've now gotten to the point where I realize it's not my anxiety. I'm not feeling myself at all. I'm feeling energies. You all of you, you wouldn't be here if you weren't a highly sensitive person or some type of empath, and we connect, we communicate with the ions of the air, we communicate with everything. We have this exchange and this give and take. And when there's a predominant amount of energies in the globe of the planet that we exist on, having a sensation, we'll feel that flutter, that flush of emotion. And so what I do is I send love to it. When I send love to it, it makes it so it doesn't disrupt me, and it helps. it helps those around me. So it actually improves the ability for them to, in that space. So something to consider. Um, 8 number 1 says, everyone I left thinks self-care is selfish. Right. And those are good people to leave. Unfortunately, we do end up saying goodbye to a lot of people in this journey. Hey, Carmen, good to see you. Um, Patriot Hero says, I really have learned that you need to take care of yourself before you can help anyone else. How can you feed with an empty cup, right? I totally agree. Sumian Niel says, hello, everyone. A question for the ladies. Are your menstrual cycles resetting? Yes. That's been very bizarre. I've always been an untypical person, and I've gotten into this rhythm that's really strange. And it's usually with the moon. Either, every once in a while, like I'll suddenly uh, start my period a lot earlier. I'm sorry if I offended anybody by saying that. I don't know. Some people are funny about that. Um, and then it'll catch up on that. Now all of a sudden I'm cycling with the new moon. It used to be I used to be a shorter window, so it's very strange. So yeah, I think a lot of people are too. And when we have the menstrual cycle, and I know this sounds funny to say it, though men honestly do have menstrual cycles in their own way too. It's an energy release and a cycling that happens. We're noticing that we're having more cramping, male or female, during the window of time that's happening. Often men don't always have cramping, though I'm hearing more and more men are right now. So that's something to keep in mind. The cramping, it's we're all having this womb energy stuff. Where is the womb? The place of creation. That's not a mistake. So something to just keep in mind, and guiding the light there. The light is there for us. Teresa says, anyone else feeling lightheaded still? Yes. I've experienced almost a feeling like I'm going to faint several times the last weeks, and a couple of friends of mine too. Yeah, and usually that has, for me, and a lot of people that I've talked to, nausea is also part of that. The same window of time, like it just feels like not like you're really gonna vomit, but slightly feeling that way. That and yes, I find that for me, it feels very much like a guidance to sit on the ground. It's our bodies do things to get us to do what they want us to, what they need. And I've noticed that I'll feel that way, and I'll immediately just sit on the ground just in case. I mean, that's just my reaction to feeling like I'm going to faint. And then from that place, the level of grounding that happens in that moment is fascinating. It's very intense and beautiful. So perhaps that's what's going on with you. There's also this lightheaded, vertigo, dizzy culmination thing, making a whole new animal that's happening. It's like the platypus of dizziness, and it's this strange sensation that's also happening during a period of like um it seems like listlessness usually happens in that same moment, and the disorientation, like you almost feel like you're not sure where gravity is, which direction to put your feet. This kind of thing seems to happen all at the same time in very brief waves. Um, and this is again the 2 year cycle. So 2 years ago, this was happening really intensely for most of the summer too. So that's speaking of weather. All right, we didn't have a fall, like it didn't happen. All of a sudden, snow. Like we had I don't know what you even call it, the Indian summer, and then all of a sudden winter. Now this year we were waiting for spring, and then all of a sudden it's 80 degrees. And like it's wasn't really a spring, so it's very interesting. I know a lot of people are noticing their weather's different lately, so I'm just curious if anyone else is seeing that where you're at. Sumi and Nell, Patriot Hero is saying to Sumi and Nell, people who have been vaxxed are reporting issues with menstrual cycles. I haven't been. I didn't get the jab, and I haven't had any kind of. I'm still having the same symptoms, so I don't know. That's her birthday. Sumi and Nell's birthday is the 5th. Cool. Mandolin, good to see you. Aho to you. It's good to see you. Being Vixen, my son is 30 on May 5th. Should be interesting. Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of birthdays that are happening at that time, this week of this portal. It's very interesting. And then I know a lot of people who are due around that time. So that'll be interesting to see during a solar eclipse and all this stuff, like, wow. Um, Trey B says, yes, lightheaded, woozy feelings, buzzy and fuzzy. Yeah, right. And they are becoming more frequent. Feels pleasant though. Cool. I'm glad that you're getting the pleasant side of it. I typically get the pleasant and then I lean into see what's going on with everybody else because that's what I've presented myself for is to help others. So I've connected in that way. And so when I complain about these ascension symptoms, this is something that most people are feeling, and then I'm connecting because I want to feel them enough to know what's going on. There is a beautiful side to all of this stuff, and if you're not there right now, please do not be discouraged. We all have a variety of things that we heal through in order to get to that next place, and I was talking about this to somebody else. You would never trade each other. And once you did, it wouldn't, you can't jump into the middle of a video game. You have to do the tutorial and then level 1 through whatever. You can't just jump into level 26 and know what you're doing, and usually it's really uncomfortable. So it does get better though. And that's what I'm trying to say. It gets so much better and it feels so cool. If you are enjoying, pop over and hit the like. Thanks, Mandolin. Oh, you're so beautiful. Let's see. Kim says feeling very drawn to perform energy work tonight and tomorrow during Beltane. I actually don't know what that is. I'll have to look that up. I'm actually going to take a note. It feels like a portal leading to the May 5th portal. Oh wait, you know what? We just talked about that. I know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. That's cool. That's really, really cool. Trey Bay says, my pineal gland is releasing its own DMT. Yes, yes. And the more that you connect to these higher frequencies, the more we leave behind the density, the more that accessible all of this stuff is. And then it's like being on just a beautiful journey of color and light and understanding. And just all of the questions that you ever had are just basic information. And so you run out of care because it's like, oh, it's just, it's not, the novelty wears off very quickly. So yeah, that's cool. Stephanie, oh, she's talking to, she was, yes, the dizziness, phew, nearly fell over a number of times, but being a blonde, I'm used to dizzy. Oh man, I could spend hours telling you blonde jokes. I think I've probably heard them all by now. Mandolin, so many pregnant people in my life. Yeah, look at that. Everywhere. They're just, Teresa says, yes, having those feelings, Teresa and Trey B. Carmen saying hello to everybody. Molly says, I can't stop eating pasta or carbs in general. It's like when I was pregnant. This one, yes, this specific weight gain has been very weird, and it has a lot to do for me is I'm drawn to the white food is like what Leia says, and just that drawn to the white food, the pasta and the breads even. And even though I make a lot of those things on my own and I know what's in it, it's really a dense food. And anyway, it's something that I'm wanting. And so I've actually put on quite a bit of weight. I'm noticing as the summer months come and I try on my clothes and go, oh, they don't fit anymore. So yeah, follow your body. Your body's telling you what it needs. Oh, I just lost my spot. I'm so sorry, everybody. Carrots, root vegetables help to ground quickly, says Mandolin. Yes. And the orange carrot is a really good thing right now. Pamela has got 2 Teresas in here. Yeah, I noticed that. Perhaps I'll read your last names too. Sylvia says, yes, feeling pregnant, divine feminine, Mother's Day. And Mother's Day. I forgot about that. Of course. Of course. Huh. That's funny. Thank you. Sometimes you don't notice the obvious. Mother's Day and balancing divine masculine and feminine within. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. I lost my spot, so I'm just going to pick up where I was where I got brought to. Self-love is so valuable, Vanya. Yes. Teresa Berger. Oh, I didn't see that. I jumped to the B like mine. I was just talking to Teresa. And there's the other one's Teresa B. I've been having, says Carla, I've been having blurry vision, dizziness, headaches, nausea, lightheaded, not due to an emergency, but like a continuous feeling. Okay. Yeah. So the blurry vision is a fun one in the end. It might not, at first, it's like you're constantly thinking that you're everything like in and out of focus and it just seems blurry and just different. Um, there are a couple of things, there are two things that happen with me and a bunch of other people too. So I have that to validate this is that one of them had to do in the beginning of it had to do with like a film or like some kind of stuff coming out of the eyeballs. And this had nothing to do with any kind of illness or allergy or anything. It was just this film was leaving the eyes. And then after that, not long after that, I started to seem like things were out of coming in and out of focus, going to the eye doctor. I don't have a prescription of any kind. I don't use glasses or any kind of corrective vision. Um, and they said that my eyesight's better than it used to be. So um, then I realized what's happening is that as I'm raising, so we don't tend to raise our frequency in a steady way like this. It tends to be more like you're going up to it and then kind of bumping. Eventually, you're making progress on your way up. It's just that there's this plateau places, these plateau places, and sometimes even dips based on whatever's happening. It's not the wrong way to do it. And as we're doing that, we're raising our frequency up to the frequency of other things, beings, energies, whatever you want to call it. And so we're actually starting to see some things that other people who aren't where you're at yet aren't. It's really fascinating. I'm very, very lucky to have a few people in my life that are also on this awakening journey to validate me as I go along on some of this stuff because it does seem really out there on occasion. So if that helps, the nausea and stuff has a lot to do with. Oh, and let's talk about the headaches. Yes. Okay. So the headaches. Um, for me, it's very fleeting. I don't know. You said that continuous feeling, but I wasn't sure if that had to do with all of the symptoms or just the one. Um, the headache I'm having is very brief. It's very intense. Like I say, always say this, but it's true. It feels like a migraine if it's stuck around long enough because of the intensity. Um, Often it's a movement through. So what I was having at first, it was coming in right here, right above my eye, like right there, and then I'd feel it like leave back here, and it was like a jolt of electricity almost. And I kind of wonder if that had to do with electricity, to be honest. Um, and then also there's like the temple one, and then it's weird too when I'm having the temple activations and the it's like almost a dull headachy pain. I'll look in the mirror and I'll see it looks like I have small bruises or a deeper shadow on those sides until it goes away. And so I kind of feel like we're pushing stuff out still. We're doing a big detox, guys. That's actually a bunch of the symptoms are related to detoxing. Where our bodies are pushing stuff out. We're releasing these things. We're purging, and that has to do with constant trips to the bathroom. And I'm just going to say something that, so if you don't want to hear about poo, close your ears for a second. But we're having this bowel movement experience where it's really tar like and it scares some people because that's what they look for if they worried about having blood in their stool. If you are concerned about any of this stuff, by the way, please go see your physician if you feel inclined to do so. I'm not here to tell you one way or another, but excuse me. Um, in that, though, this is something a lot of people are having, and that's what it looks like when we pass parasite. Okay, and so it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. It's like, yay, they're moving, and often there's an emotional response in the act. We'll feel like a surge of anger or even sadness, mourning kind of stuff, um, grief. And so just allowing yourself to know that that's moving through. That's part of that purging that's happening. Also, weird acne, and I've talked about that a bunch, though it's not like real acne. It's like it's almost fleshy, whatever it is that comes out. And this is just something that's the stuff needs to come out one way or another, right? It's leaving our body. Also, different kinds of rashes on the skin. Like typically, it happens around the legs or the belly. Some have had them like on their back. Um, and like right on their chest here sometimes, but typically it's those areas. And it doesn't stay around very long. I've noticed also that Epsom salt baths, I use Himalayan Epsom salt um, in a bath soak, that does help. I think that because it's helping pull out the toxins. And so if you're having any of that skin discomfort stuff, um, so anyway, I'm sorry. I'm leaving. I need to keep up on your questions. Patriot Hero. No, the loneliness is horrible. I'm single and most of my family doesn't talk to me because I didn't get the thing. So I'm really all alone. I am okay. I'm just feeling, yeah, I understand. Well, I'm really sorry that you're in that experience. I've been there too. Like I definitely get it. And when we feel like that, then the connections that we can make are just so precious. And I'm glad that you're here. And I hope that you continue to connect with us. There's a whole community here, and if you don't want to join the Zooms, there's for any of you. I also have a Telegram group that's getting to be quite large. Like I think we have like 250 people or something like that. And it's really a beautiful culmination of different individuals all on this awakening journey in different places of their awakening and stuff. And it's cool because there's people from all over the world there. And so what if you wake in the middle of the night, the time zones that work out, there's always somebody around, it seems. So um let's see. Deb says, just want to be alone and quiet. I am an old hippie and love my music. Quiet is better. Yeah. And then I've gotten to that place. I'm more where you are at now, Deb. And it just like I had been to that big loneliness experience. And then all of a sudden, like our manifestation works a little stronger than we realize. And there's just lots of experience of connection, and that will happen for everybody who wants it. Um, Teresa Berger says, I was told I was supposed to be a Tracy. My grandma called me Tricky. That's funny. That's cute. Mandolin, I'm just the opposite. I have too many around me. They never go away. I totally get what you're saying. And you want to reach out and be there for people. At the same time, it's like, okay, I need to be quiet for a minute now. Hello, Esther. She says, hello, Pamela, and everybody. Welcome. It's good to see you. Doris says, super tired and dizzy. Okay, so the exhaustion. Holy cannoli, right? That is a real thing. The just feeling deprived of energy and just like someone unplugged your battery, right? And just though at the same time I'm still doing this weird thing that I I'm just not sleeping. It's not that I can sleep once I go to bed. If I would do that. Just do that, though. So I don't. And then just adding more and more to this tiredness on top of it and feeling very invigorated and ready to wake in the morning. And then within a few hours, it's like, well, okay, now I'm extremely tired again. It's just a thing that's happening right now. Um, Excuse me. Stephanie, now my question. Who else is noticing a real increase in their ability to perform healing energy? Yes, or energy healing. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you for saying this, Stephanie. So we have crossed the precipice, that precipice that everybody was talking about. At least I was talking about a lot. And I just assume everybody's like me. That's just how I operate in this world. Is that we crossed this precipice of energy and have been moving toward a strengthening of our gifts, as well as finding access to gifts that we didn't know we had. And healing has been one of the biggest ones all of a sudden. And not just me, or, like a lot of people are, what's happening? Most people are feeling it first with the heat of their hands. The other one that's really fun, this is what happened to me as well, is all of a sudden just wanting your hands to be together. Like it's not like you're forced to be like having your hands together. You're just like you're stuck. It's just you really want to stay this way for some reason, throughout the day. It just feels correct. And then and the heating up and stuff. I don't know. That's part of some of the activations. So perhaps do that for yourself if you're having this. And then the heating up that happens there, I'm sweating right now just from putting my hands together for that short amount of time because they're so hot. And as this heats up more and more, we're finding access and how to do it. You can heal people from afar. You can heal other planets. I mean, really, you can send healing energy everywhere. Um, the best thing to do if you're having this coming on is to work on yourself and your own healing to as you're doing it while you're practicing, and to remember that you're sending healing to someone and you're not taking what's there, what they have going on, so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll visualize a rope. It looks black. The density always looks like a blackish or a grayish color to me, and or whatever it is that's affecting the person. It's always that way. And I'll just let that rope go into the ground and I'll pull it energetically into the ground. um, that's just my 2 cents about that. Also, soles of feet is another thing. Head pressure and forehead. We should finish that conversation about the headache. Thank you, Stephanie, for bringing that up. So beautiful. um, and more immediate results in healing too. That's something else that I've observed, just like healed. There's also the band headache. So let's talk about that one. There, it's like a band. A lot of times it's only on one side of your head or the other. It's just something that people are having the experience with. Again, it tends to be fleeting. And what I mean by that specifically, this one, the band will fade in and out, fade in and out, not that quickly though, it's just like that fast of experience. And then there's long periods in between when there's not one. It's really strange. So it's just a thing. Um, let's see. Esther says, my new symptoms are burning of the skin. Yep, burning of the skin, kind of pins and needles. I suppose I have to go to the doctors. That's actually really, really common. It feels like a very mild burn. Some even talked about it feeling like electrocution, only it wasn't painful. And just having this electric experience in the skin and the tickly thing. The burning stuff, I found the solution for that was just oils. Honestly, like I remember at first they were like, "There's a special oil and it's $90,000 or something like that," and whatever oil you can get. My main thing I'll always say is not vegetable oil or canola oil, and do what you can with what you have available for you. That does help. Oil as well as baths. I'll Epsom salt is my go-to in a lot of things. So that does help. I do not dissuade you in any way to go see your doctor, though. I mean, there may be something else there. Follow your own gut, your own understanding of that. Um, you brought up something else too, that I meant to talk about. Oh yeah, the back of the neck. So that little space, that little bubble, right where your brain stem meets your neck, that little place right there. We've been talking about stuff going on with that area for a long time. And then, just there's been an increase in experience there lately. People are getting these like almost like boils. Again, that's what I'm talking about, the fleshy along the hairline too. It's really weird. Like we think to ourselves as a teenager, when I'm older, I won't have to worry about acne like symptoms anymore. And yeah. So that area, it was really interesting. I hadn't actually considered it, but that's where all of the nerves meet up and then go down. And what I see visually, energetically, is it looks like a tree. And I've always thought it was the vein and circulatory system of the arteries and stuff that I'm seeing lit up of like rainbow light. And that's the nerves. Of course, it's the nerves. So we have a lot of like neurological kind of stuff, not in a bad way. This is stuff coming online. Like it's never been lit up like that before that I've seen. So it's really interesting. 8 number 1 says, has anyone stopped taking their daily medications? Yeah, I have personally. If that's something that you choose to do, take your time. As my only suggestion when I did that, what's called titrate is I took a little bit off at a time each week or month or something like that, depending on what it was I was taking, to slowly get off of it in a safe way. And I would usually suggest that you consult your doctor, though, keeping in mind most of them are going to try to dissuade you. Do whatever it is that feels correct for you. I found for me that after I stopped the medications, there were a few years worth of healing that I had to do from just residual stuff that was kind of like deposited in my brain and my neck area, and like also the shoulder muscles. It was really weird looking at it energetically. So just keeping that in mind, that we slowly purge that stuff out over time. So Stephanie says, laugh out loud, platypus of dizziness, right? Wow, that's how far. Oh, that was a long time ago. I am so behind. Maybe I should catch up to the bottom. Um, Sorry, guys. Okay, so there's a lot more comments. Okay. Um, I'll go here and then go back up. Okay, so we have Brandy doing lots of something, or sorry, doing lots of somatic healing, and it really seems to be helping with the anxiety I've been feeling. Cool. My guides have me focusing slash learning about my vagus nerve. The vagus nerve that came up again. Interesting. I think I need to look into that further because I've been hearing about it a lot and I'm aware of it and stuff. It's just, and have done work myself. It's that it's when you hear the same thing over a few bunch of times in a very short window of time, usually there's something more there. So thank you. And Brandy also says acupuncture, breath work, and meditation are helping me release trauma stored in my body. Hey, thank you for bringing up acupuncture. Thank you very much for your comment as well. There's a lot about acupuncture that people don't realize. Like it's not always with needles. You know, that's definitely a very helpful, useful tool. It's the meridians of the body, the way that we just brush our body, that the tapping that we do, just all of these things are all stimulating in the same way that in using acupuncture technology and understanding for it, as well as understanding to basics in acupuncture, we'll discover what part of our body or what our body's trying to tell us based on the area of our body that we're feeling a discomfort. Another way to do this is to simply get on an internet search engine and type in the organ or the body area, and then like what emotion is related to this thing, and then we'll find out all this stuff. It's really cool, and it's our body forever has been our just we just didn't realize it for the longest time. Our body's telling us what emotional damage or thing that needs healing is underlying, is hiding under there and festering under the band-aids that we've used, is addressing only the symptoms rather than the underlying issue, and so those underlying issues, it's also a school of thought for like QHHT kind of stuff. You can do this on your own, in a very real way. And just knowing what it is, like somebody who I know that has never actually ever drank an alcohol in their lives, and isn't that old. All of a sudden, out of the blue, got uh, uh, non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver. And a big issue and became a really difficult thing to overcome, and still is in a lot of ways, though. We looked up what that was, and that was anger. And as soon as the realization that the anger had never been expressed and allowed to move out, um, as soon as that happened, then the person started to actually use their voice to talk about the anger and let it out. It started to get better. It started to truly start to resolve itself. So keeping that in mind is really useful. um, so Trey B says rose water for the burning feeling, for me works like a charm. Interesting. Thank you for saying that. And that makes a lot of sense because of the love. The rose tends to be like the love energy and the intention of love, and love is the solution for all of this stuff. Really, thank you for saying that. Um, Patriot here. Yeah, the acne is pissing me off. Yeah, I totally with you. It's like, come on. Like, isn't there a rite of passage? We a threshold of some kind that we pass that we don't have to deal with that anymore. But whatever. I'm with you though. It's really annoying. Esther, I will try some oils. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, oils really do help. What I ended up doing was I started making some of my own, kind of like I would uh, I was using coconut oil for a little bit, and then I found that a little bit of sunflower oil with it really helps. And so then you have like the two different consistencies, and and you don't need a lot either. It's just really just a skin, just a bit, and you'll notice your body just absorb it. It's like, wow, looks like you're a lot drier than you realize, kind of thing. Priti says, there are some great videos to reset vagus nerve with eyes. Thank you very much. I'm really excited to look more into this because there's so much that we're understanding, and sight is something that I'm having turned on more right now than before. Sight in a lot of different ways. And I mean sight, this kind of sight, though I'm noticing that it very much has to do with the eyes, the physical eyes too. Interesting too is that oh, thank you, Vegan Vixen. That was very nice of you. Thank you for everything you do for us. Thank you. Oh, that was really sweet. And there's cones and rods, just like in our eyes. Those are the things that help us to see. They're also in our pineal gland. And for the longest time, people were like, well, it's not seeing anything. I don't know why the cones and rods are there, because it's looking down. It's looking at your heart. Your heart is your thinking organ. People talk about the brain as being something really important, and it is. All the organs we have are important, though most of our work is done through the heart, not the brain. And it's the pineal gland looks down at the heart, which is luminous. You can see light. And we go into it energetically. A person's heart it lights up. It does. It's beautiful. So, yeah, yes, thank you very much. That was really kind of you. Let's go back up now. So I'm caught up. I just felt really bad. I was so far behind. Epsom salt, Trey B says, Baz is the only thing that relieves my pain right now. Yeah, and it's so crazy too. Like, I don't know if you notice, like I noticed, but I'm one of those people that tends to notice strange things. And what's interesting is that when I know that I'm going through a purge of some type, my body's detoxing, that when I use Epsom salt, and I always use Epsom salt in my baths these days, it's just kind of like a staple to have around these days, is that what's left behind in the bottom of the tub are these tiny black specks, like black sand. Like that has been drawn out of my body, and that the water served me, the Epsom salt served me. Another thing that we do every time we interact with water is we communicate love with it, love and appreciation for the water, and thanking it for doing what it is that you want it to do for you. For if we don't tell it what we want, then it doesn't really know exactly, right? And so it helps really to say, thank you for cleansing me of all the things that don't serve me. Thank you for, and just and giving it that love. You change the frequency of the water, and also changing the frequency of yourself. By the way, remember, you're like the mostly water, 70 to, I don't remember the percentage. Everyone's different based on gender, I guess, but we have so much water in our body. And then when we speak unkind things and like unkind self-talk, a lot of times we're changing those also too, or we are changing those too. A lot of times we notice it brings us down. And so to speak kindly to this water, we're also doing it for this at the same time, and it activates the water. The water becomes something different. And then when it becomes something different, and it's able to do more things, and then draining that water out of the tub, I'll usually stick around the tub just for a little bit while it drains out. And then I can have that visual of those things that aren't serving me draining off of me. And that really helps. Like I started doing that and everything changed. Honestly, it's the most simple practice. And when you think about it, what we're doing when we interact with water, we actually are creating holy water. Like it not to sound disrespectful to any religious body. It's truly interacting with this higher frequency, with this love, with this appreciation of this water. We create holy water out of it. And then we're bathing in it and washing ourselves. Same with food. You change the frequency of the food that you're eating by appreciating it, giving it information, releasing the negative information from it. I mean, like the memory that comes off of it. And so we bless the food. Those types of things. It's really crazy to think about how simple all of the most important things are. Kimberly says, tingly fingers on dominant hand, like energy coming out. Oh, that's really cool. Are you noticing it more on the tips of your fingers? I'm curious. I tend to have that experience too. I'll notice like it'll feel like I'm touching something. Like it'll be like buzzy, like feeling tickly. And when I'm doing that, when I'm feeling that, usually I'm actually doing some type of healing in a way that I'm not aware of yet. I'll find out later on, and so it's it's really fun and it's connecting to others and then connecting to your own energy too. It's kind of cool. That was my experience anyway. Um, let's come down here. Yes, tips of fingers. Okay, so yeah, so that's exactly what that tends to be the first thing that starts to happen, the tingly. And it's funny because I actually hadn't thought about it until you mentioned it. That was the first symptom that I had before my hands really, like I was noticing the tingling. I think that's why I started putting my hands together. Yeah, and then as that starts to happen, then you're able to access the healer in you more and more. You can practice on water. It's really easy to practice on water because it's so open to being channeled and changed into something else. And by the way, when you then drain the water away, when the water goes to other water, it impacts that water as if it's colored by a dye, but it's colored by love. And it touches and then affects and bleeds onto the beautiful energy, connects and changes all of the things like all the way through. It's really cool. So keeping that in mind while you're doing it, that can amplify it when you have that, this is my intention kind of space with it. Brandy says, yes, tips of fingers have been super intense. I'm so excited. So this is exactly what Stephanie was talking about too. A lot of people are starting to get their healer turned on. Really cool. Oh, somebody's leaving. She says, bye guys. Love to you all. Thank you. So grateful. Thank you for being here. 8 number 1. I'm sorry I didn't address all your questions. I think I jumped ahead of something that you were writing before. Kim says, okay, or Nervous says goodbye to her. Kim says, almost like a rubber band placed around fingers and pressure builds. Yeah, that's a really good way of explaining it. So while you're doing that, here's a really good suggestion. Interacting with water works as well as interacting with soil or dirt or grass, just like naturey stuff. Remember, again, we talked about the color therapy and the chakras in relation to the colors around our life. And those of us who are on the side of the hemisphere that it's becoming spring, we're starting to see the green, the heart energy, the healing. And so the healer in a lot of people are kind of being inspired and coming online right now. It's just kind of something that happens every spring, whether or not we realize it, though this time does seem like it's more intense. As this is happening, allow yourself to connect to that. So play in the garden, play, in whatever you can. If there's a plant that you can bring into your house, if you're in a place that doesn't have plants, that really helps. Just connecting to that. Exactly. Vanya said something very important. We're all healers. We just needed to remember that. And to be okay with that. A lot of people, myself included, being raised in a way that we were culturally, or we were conditioned rather, to not trust in that, and that was some kind of like vanity or ego, or holding yourself above everyone else kind of thing. And so that is something to keep in mind, is that that was a way to keep everybody down, right? Everybody away from that frequency. And so trusting yourself and being okay with saying, I'm a healer, because just like was already said by Vanya, we are all healers. If you're worried about holding yourself above everyone else, then, don't worry about it, because we're all there. Another thing like that's kind of funny is that a lot of people, not wanting to be a chosen one, all this stuff, because most of the movies that we watch, there's a chosen one, and it turns out we're all Neo. You know what I mean? We're all chosen ones, and we're in this experience right now because of that, because we came in, the reason that we were picked in volunteering for the mission of this earth experience is that we already know what to do. We've already done it. And most of it is being done just in autopilot without even fully realizing what we're doing. the vast majority of the work that we've done in each of our lifetimes has been done in slumber, in actual sleep at night, or naps, or whatever. And only just recently starting to realize the strength of their energy and their how empowered, how powerful they are. And to realize that the word power means to empower. That word got hijacked, like many words. It got hijacked and has this negative connotation to it now. People assume that when you say the word power, that you mean to overlord, to overpower, to take control away from a body or a group, and to be their, a slave master kind of thing. And that's not what we're talking about. And so to empower, it's it's fun to be able to stand into the energy of what something is meant to mean. And it gives release from it. So Rowan, Roma, sorry, I don't know how I said it. You said I said it right. Rowan, excuse me, Roania. I'm sorry. Hello, all. I didn't mention love, yellow heart. Thank you for the beautiful yellow heart. I'm so sorry. I do sometimes stutter with R's too, so I apologize. Um, Patriot Hero says, I mentioned my hand being hot, which is healing. How do I send that healing to other people? Okay, great question. Great question. All right, so it's really easy to do. In fact, most of the time we do it naturally. When we put our hand in the direction, oh, thank you. I'm so sorry. I always feel bad when it comes to people's names because we care. This species cares, and like I deal so much energetically with individuals of a higher frequency, like the archangels don't care what you call them, as an example. So before us, let's go back to my answer about that. Is that so? How you heal people is you first of all set your intention. My go-to is to call on Archangel Michael and to call in a couple of other, and whatever you resonate with. If you're not into the archangels, calling in whatever it is, the energy that's there for you to guide you, like one of your guides, your higher self, energy like that. I bring them in and I declare what I'm about to do to them. I don't know how to say it with my voice. They can hear me in whichever way I'm communicating it. And I declare what I'm about to do. And then in that space, I allow my heart chakra to light up by the light being funneled in by God. I'll light up my heart chakra. And the heart chakra will become sort of like a buffer of energy too while I'm doing this. So it's lighting up and I get to that place where you know how that you feel just before you say I love you to somebody, that love, that just the person that you really love, you're not just giving them lip service, you're saying I love you because you do. That sensation, and send that to them out through your hands. And it's just love, like, I really love you and I want you to do better, and just that desire. And it sends and you can feel it. It's so fun. I didn't at first, okay? Eventually it started to I could feel it like a breath coming out of each one of my pores that I'm directing in the person direction. It's really cool. Really, really cool. And so, but remembering at the same time while I'm doing that I'm creating like a dome of light for myself to prevent anything from coming into my experience. If that makes any sense. So you're not taking on anybody else's stuff. That's not the goal here. It's to release them of the other thing, and the other thing that's being healed off needs releasing anyway. Most of this energy that we're healing out is like caged animal energy. It's an energy that doesn't want to be here and it's ready to go. And so that really helps. You're liberating that energy as well as the individual. So in that place of love, just and I always want to be in a meditative space, not it doesn't have to be really deep, just in a quiet. And I'll always start like this. I don't know. It's just something that I do. And then I'll send out. Usually I guess I go like this. This is like that's my shape. Everyone has their own. It works for you. Whatever it is you do is perfect for you. And then send that love out and you can feel it. Practice. The closer to someone, the better when you first start to practice, from what I've learned. But um, I've found that what works the best if I can see the person. So like on a Zoom or like in person is the best, obviously. but it's just as effective if it's over Zoom or like a FaceTime kind of call. That really helps. So that's just my how I've done it and how I use it. So if anyone else has any guidance for that, please comment. Let people, it's really great to. Lisa is leaving. Pamela, have you ever thought about doing a class now and again on different subjects like healing? That's a Oh, it's good to see you. She has to go. Have a great rest of the day. That's actually a really interesting thought. I'll consider that. Thank you, Lisa, very much. Um, Kimberly says, I wanted to ask. I know you work with Archangel Michael a lot. Someone recently told me Michael is Jesus. I love to know your thoughts, if you don't mind, please. Um, I would say that there's a connection there for sure. Um, So what it is for me is that if you understand that at the beginning, God, source, whatever you call the higher power energy, was this beautiful ball of white light and separated, though God remained. There was a separation that occurred. And from those separations, they separated and on and on and on to eventually fractal down enough to where the incarnated souls who are here now. And from that genealogical line, if you do like the genealogy of it, yes, I very much believe strongly. I think I'm just going to say a matter of fact that Jesus is a direct connection to Archangel Michael, and that energy is the same. I agree. There's some other points about the archangels that was made. So I'm going to read this in case it goes along with this. Vanya says Archangel Raphael is the healer. Talk to him and accept his light for healing. It helps heal pets too. Yes, that's right. And he's also a green color, that green healing, the heart, that all is the same thing. That color is beautiful healing. Um, if you present a color for healing and it changes to a different color, go with it. Whatever color you need right then will come through. And so that was my biggest difficulty was I would be doing color therapy. I would be bringing in a specific archangel for a specific thing, or I'd be using like a violet flame as an example, and then it would change to, you know, a yellow flame, or it would change to something else. What needs to be there will present itself. So, um, Patriot Hero says, wow, my experience with how you said to do it before you said the experiences. I felt the anxiety feeling in my chest, tingling in my hands that went up my arms to my chest. Wow, you did it. Oh, you did it. I'm so excited. Good job. Wow, you are a quick study. Congratulations. That's so cool. Work with it. Keep it going. Like it's really simple if you think about it. It doesn't take all that much effort either, just allowing yourself the space of it. I've noticed that when near to or interacting with water specifically, all things spiritual just seem easier. Like I'll tend to go to our um, river over here and be near to the water, and that place is so sacred and feeling to me, and all these things are just more accessible. So that's something else that you could try. Um, and it doesn't have to be natural water, just that's the favorite. You could do bathtub while I'm washing the dishes, those types of things. 1111, good to see you. This is a little off topic, but does anyone know anything about being born in narcissistic parents? I don't know. I've heard something about a super empath and how they balance the generational narcissism. This is really common. It's super common for people to have either parents who are narcissists or siblings or somebody that's really close in their experience. I actually have done occasionally and during our group meetings, kind of just out of curiosity or raise of hands kind of thing, how many people had a narcissist in their life, and most of us have had multiple narcissists. Um, so this topic is something that is kind of touchy in some ways because a lot of these narcissists, and this is like a new word of separation in some ways, because a lot of these individuals are also awakening individuals. They're not different from us. It's simply they have more healing to do. and there's more to be done, and they help us. It's very interesting. They do really help us. They are catalysts for our growth almost always, and in every situation, as far as I've talked about and learned about in my own. Um, and so just knowing that when that happens, that those things are occurring to assist you, um, doesn't mean that you need to run to it. When they're in your life, that moment, that experience is some type of, it feels like it's holding you down, but then, boo, it's like a catalyst, it's like a pressure cooker of some kind. And it helps us. It gives us that initial push that we need, So I have heard about what you're talking about too. I remember there was an early study that I did years ago, very fascinating, about this whole idea, and um, we are healing it, and that's why it's so seen, to the point of people getting tired of hearing it. Probably, like we're always talking about narcissists right now, like everyone's, their narcissist tests and this and that, and I think that's why when a topic is suddenly discussed by everyone without really a prompter, really, there's something that needs to be looked at there. And I believe that's what it is those energies are not bad guys. A lot of them didn't have the supportive energy that we have learned through being around these individuals. So it's something to consider too. And thank you for that. Um, and 1111 says, now on topic, anyone else having cell phone problems, internet problems? Yes, 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 yes. I'm actually on this side of the room right now. I typically am on the other side of the room because this is the outlet that works. I was doing meditation during the solar eclipse that we just had, and we're just right before it, I guess. And I was only in meditation for a short time, and where I was sitting, that whole side of the house lost power. No one can figure it out yet, so that's something. Um, the internet stuff has been kind of funny with these Zoom calls. We'll get this weird, like, it looks kind of like the magic eye posters. You know how you like let your focus off and then you could see that what the picture is. That kind of thing is popping up. Connectivity problems constantly, almost always. It's become a just expectation that my internet's going to fade out here and there. It's something that's happening for a lot of us. So um, another one too is noticing that reception, like phone or television kind of reception, someone streaming, gets affected when I come in the room. Like my kiddo does watch TV on occasion, and she does it on the other side of the house. When I go near to it, she gets annoyed because immediately it just doesn't work. So our frequency and the energy that we keep is disruptive to it also. So something else is kind of fun. You can touch your phone while it's charging, and it'll jump up several percentage points. So that's kind of interesting. Um, Trey B says 1111. Yeah, I've been learning about pre-birth soul contracts and how to map out our lives, and also learning about ancestral trauma. That's really cool. There's a conversation about that. And yes, ancestral trauma, says 1111. I'm feeling like my purpose on this earth is to break the curse. Yeah, 100%. You're welcome, Kimberly. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're doing healing for all things. And also, we're not just healing our own ancestral lines. Like the way I was shown it, it looks kind of like a multi-rayed sun with the center point being you. And each one of those genetic lines embody like the humans who begat you, um, were lined up exactly the way that they were for a reason. That culmination of what makes you helps you to access a wider variety of individuals. And at the same time, you've been doing this work and many, many others collectively, that once you graduate past that part of the list, then we start to heal others that we're not connected to in really any way we can find. Um, though we are energetically, like the soul contract concept, it feels like more of agreement, honestly. It does. It's something that you're one of several that if you're in the right place at the right time, you'll be the one to do it, kind of thing, kind of picking up. And so we're starting to see really strange things and connect with things that we didn't have before. So well-being navigator, good day from New Zealand, sending you all love. Oh, good to see you, Heidi. Star Traveler, yes, attracted multiple narcissists without doing anything. It took me a long time to figure out I was an empath. Yeah. And a lot of times that's on purpose. I mean, it helps us, and so we can. Hey, Stacy's here. Hey, beautiful Pamela. Sorry, I'm late. That's okay. It's so good to see you. Sorry, I got distracted. Um, most of us do have that. So my probably, honestly, out of my 5 exes, I think 4 of them were probably narcissists, family members, siblings, aunts and uncles, and just, I mean, it goes back and back, and also friends for a long time there. The vast majority of the people that I connected with very closely in high school, and that kind of, that there was a lot of narcissistic kind of stuff there too. And I feel like I also probably healed through some kind of narcissism. I don't know. I some of those things, I understand, like I get why they're doing it. I just don't understand to do it, and perhaps it's just because we're empathic and we can understand where someone's at. It's easy to put yourself in someone's shoes. But at the same time, that's all being healed through. And so it's like a catalyst. It's a way to assist us to move forward and to get us to move forward, in a way. So, Trey B, speaking of internet issues, Pamela is buffering on my end. Oh, that's amazing. I'm sorry that's happening. Vanya says, Vegan Vixen, same here. I'm just waiting for them to grow, God willing. If it's meant to be, it will. Yeah, it totally, yeah. I really think that is going to, I've been watching it change. It's been really kind of fun to see it, and keeping sure, being sure to take care of yourself. You don't need to invite anyone into your bubble, into your life that's going to affect you in an unpleasant kind of way. And it's not meant as a point of sacrifice. What we're saying is that these guys are healing, and let them do that. They can do it over there, and it's not, a lot of individuals who have been conditioned to take and take and take don't know how to do it without doing that if someone's there to do it with, if that makes any sense. I hope that made sense. Karen B, hi Pamela. What method of meditation do you use? Um, I I meditate all kinds of different ways. I'll meditate while I'm doing dishes, so I'll be busy doing something. We'll meditate. Hey, it's 111. We'll meditate. Um, very like traditionally in lotus position. So like folding your legs and making sure your chakras are aligned. That's usually when I'm doing chakra work. I would typically sit like that for most meditations. It just feels correct. Um, if I know it's going to be a long meditation, I'll try to do it laying down. Though, if you lay down, you want to bend your knees slightly. I mean, like this. So, like this is your knees, and this is your butt. And that helps your chakras line up, as well as not having a really heavy or really big pillow, if any at all. That's another way of meditating that helps. If it's a longer meditation, that's what I'll usually do. That otherwise, I'll come back into my body, and my legs are completely numb. So, and then you know what? Most of my meditation, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's just how I've always got to do it. It's been kind of fun. Is that I'll bring in the light of God. That's the beginning. You breathe in through your nose if you can. If there's allergies or whatever, and then filling up your diaphragm, so your stomach, your tummy fills up. Um, we've taught ourselves to breathe very shallowly, and so if you allow yourself to breathe with a full belly and then back out through the mouth, and then as I'm doing that, I become guided. I open myself up to my higher selves. That's something else that's important to mention, is there's always an intention. I kind of do almost like a ceremony, but that's because the more candles I'm lighting, the more crystals I'm bringing. Each crystal, each lighting of the candle, each choice in the candle is me. I'm stating the intention because I'm thinking about what I'm going to do, and it makes it happen more. It's stronger. It's more impactful. And then my guides, I invite my guides in, my higher self, and archangels and stuff, and they'll actually lead the meditation. And I get to go on this visual ride of healing, and I can feel the sensation of whatever's going on. Typically, The light needs to go through each one of the main 7 chakras that we are all very aware of. Then it starts to move into the outside chakras. Um, I couldn't sit here and declare each name of them all, though I get to see it while it's happening. It's just like the light channels through it. And then we end up going on some kind of a place. Usually we go within the ground, meeting Gaia's heart, and then a world. And in that place, a healing. One thing that I've been doing more lately in meditation is that I've been talking to each of the chakras. Um, I didn't do that before. And then I noticed more and more during these healings that I do on these one-on-one, which, by the way, if you're interested in, I have a Calendly, a scheduling site link on in the description of this video. You can schedule a session with me if you're interested. Um, I'm going to raise that into next month in June, up to $33 a month, only because I'm being guided to do it. Honestly, I don't want to charge anything, and I didn't for a little while. And one of the things that happen more than not is that these individuals, that their chakras need to be talked to. And so I've been doing that a lot more. And the more that I talk to my chakras, like your babe, like your baby, like your child, like just talking to them changes things, and so I'll do that in meditation, and I'll feel and I'll get a response, an appreciation and a gratitude for finally being seen, so that's what I've been doing lately. I don't know if that answered your question. It was, um, thank you for your question. I don't tend to use guided meditations anymore because I feel like a lot of times when I do, I'll use the earbuds with the cords, because we'll go along on the journey and we'll get to some point, and then I'm interacting with the energies there. There's beings there, beings of light, there's ETs, there's all kinds of stuff. And so it's time to have a conversation. That's where I'm at. And then the meditator, the person guiding the meditation rather, will want to, okay, now go over here. And it's like, no, thank you. Pull. And I'll pull the cords and I'll stay where I'm at. I'm usually brought back about the time that the person that's leading the meditation is guiding the person back into their body. So it's kind of a thing. Um, there are some very useful meditations. My favorite is Brian Scott, Reality Revolution. Brian Scott. He's got a lot of meditations, and he actually airs them. I'm writing his name. Um, he he airs them in a premiere every Saturday on my side of the globe. So some people, it's Sunday, at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's really cool because there's usually thousands and thousands of people doing that same meditation at the same time. I was trying to type around my microphone. I should have just shifted it over. Anyway, so is his name for anyone who's interested in guided meditation. It's really fun. I rarely get to make it to it these days. I always forget. So, though, when you can, it's really a powerful meditation. I'm going to answer just a couple more questions and then I need to get going. This has been really fun, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Um, I've heard all timelines are collapsing for the Ascension. Patriot Hero says, and yes, yes, yes. That is what we are actually doing, actively doing. That's the work. That's the part that most of us are putting effort into and seeing an immediate result. It's been really cool. And like, I remember I was writing down the channeling. You can do automated writing where you just write without like thinking about the spelling and stuff. And punctuation is just write. And then you get answers and information. And like, what I got was the wording was so funny that it's hard to say it. We are making it so history didn't happen. And that's kind of really fascinating. And then there's also we are currently correcting your history. Please stand by. That was the Arcturian one. I posted that in a Telegram group because I was just like, guys, this is and yeah, that's happening. That really is happening right now. So it's pretty cool. Miss, once you won. I love you guys. Thank you for bringing us together. I love your earrings. Thank you. Thank you. Tree of life. Tree of life. There's tree of life all over my house. It's very important. It feels like to me to have that energy around. Thank you all for being here. I love you all so much. And I really hope that if you don't join the Telegram group or whatever, that you check out our Zoom meeting that happens every Friday. We just changed the time to be later in order to accommodate a wider audience. So we're starting now at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's easier for a larger group to be able to join that way. And excuse me, if you don't want to connect with that way, I also offer free or not free, excuse me. I offer one-on-one sessions that I charge $22 an hour for. And there's a scheduling site link on the description of this channel. Thank you all for being here. It's just such a beautiful energy that I really don't want to go. I need to. I love you all so much. Bye.